have the clear goal that you want to achieve and have the right balance. As soon as your balance becomes unbalanced is the day that you will lose sight of all those goals. Welcome everyone to the 6th episode of the Fitzness Academy podcast. Now you may be wondering, James, where on earth is your guest? I'm clicking off. I don't know what to talk, and I'm going. Bye. Well, I'm only joking. Please stay. I thought that it would be a brilliant opportunity right now to give you guys a bit of an insight into the story of the Fitzness Academy. I think it's obviously starting the podcast, finding different guests, making sure you guys have got a good mix of guests. I don't want to overload you too early and give you guys a well-balanced amount of episodes. I don't want to post one week and leave it 2 weeks and then post again and leave it for 4 weeks. I want you guys to have a nice, consistent amount of episodes. So the way hopefully it'll work is that I will do an episode by myself 1 week, then I'll have a guest, and then I'll do one by myself, have a guest. So then you guys should be getting an episode every single week. And trust me, there's some good guests coming on soon. I've already recorded one, recording one on Monday. Today is it's Saturday today, so in a couple of days I'll have another guest, a very big guest. So please stay tuned for that. But obviously more to come on that. Speaking about today's episode, I was a bit in two minds whether to do it about sort of the Fitness Academy, because obviously I was like, right, possibly the people watching are going to be, people involved in fitness, so they might want some fitness as advice, but I thought there's plenty more weeks to do that. So I just wanted to give you guys a story of where this brand came from, and a bit, if I can, give some advice for people who want to start their own pages or their own businesses. You guys can hopefully, fingers crossed, take some advice off me. Obviously I'm not the most experienced, but over the past year and a half, I've been able to get some experience and some knowledge based on the things that I've learned. So starting off, I thought, I'm going to take you guys through a timeline, not too long. Obviously it's not been too long, but it's been a difficult time for a lot of people. So I think, you guys will appreciate me going through the whole process. So on the 26th of March 2020, just at the start of the first COVID lockdown in Gibraltar, I posted the very, very first post, and obviously I'll pin it on the screen. It's very, very different. Obviously the logo is in fact different as well. But at this stage I'd been toying with the idea of doing an actual sort of page. I wasn't sure what I wanted it to be about. I was still following a lot of people on social media, fitness wise, sort of your David Lades, your Steve Cooks, Jamie Alderton, and all those guys. And to be fair, at that stage, that's probably a goal I had. Obviously very different now, but I think, everyone has their motivation to start. I got my qualified as a PT in 2019. So I knew that at that stage, obviously when I got the qualification in 2019, obviously nearly 2 years before that COVID even struck, that I wanted to start my own business, my own personal training business or personal training mantra. It's but obviously I could never have imagined what it's getting like to now. Obviously it's still small, it may consider to be small, but for myself, considering just starting it off to try and help people during the COVID pandemic, I took my shot and I did it. I was like, you know what? I had the words, truck it. I want to say truck, truck it. And then, I started. So a timeline from that, I kind of realized that doing sort of a 30-day challenge was a good idea. Obviously I didn't have the following to be able to sort of listen to that or know if people wanted to even want that. But I thought that at that stage, the one, to keep me busy, two, to try and again help as many people as possible. No one had ever been in a lockdown or isolation period of any time. So, people were stuck. People were stuck for ideas. People who had gone to the gym or followed all these programs in a gym. Some people didn't have any equipment. Some people didn't have any idea of what to do. So because they train with friends, they train with family, or they watch YouTube videos on how to train. And then obviously the fitness community was trying to figure out for themselves what on earth was going on. Because obviously at that stage, they're like, right, so all my followers, all my millions of followers, I'm quoting a fitness influencer here, all my millions of followers, what are they going to do? This is how I make all these content. Oh, but when do we start content? I just started, I programmed 30 days of training, mixing it up a little bit. I didn't want I didn't want to be that guy who did tell you to do 20 star jumps and then do 10 star jumps and then do 20 burpees. I mixed it up a little bit. I tried to mix things up a bit. I did days where I did like a little challenge, it was be a little bit shorter. So then obviously you could get a little bit of recovery in there as well. I did like challenges from other, influencers and sort of obviously gave them the recognition, oh, this is a challenge from this day, and then it'll be a video of me doing it, like a time lapse of me actually doing the challenge. Then there would be days where I would use towels, and I would come up with ideas to do like sort of towel workouts where you would hold a pose called an isometric contraction in the sports science or strength and conditioning background, where where your muscles are contracting but you're like holding, there's no visible movement. So obviously that was the key, and that would actually turn out to be a big sort of topic area where I would use later on in the COVID sort of our Fitzness Academy life. I'll get into that in a second. So moving on, I would be coming up with, obviously I managed to keep that 30 days going, and I thought, I definitely thought that if I could make the 30 days or sort of make it to the end of the 30 days, that, I'd be happy with that, and be pleased with myself. I was telling my mom and dad, I was like, if I can get to the end of this 30 days, I'll be really, really happy. All of the workouts obviously edited, I needed to put captions and all these things. So like that workout, posting that one workout a day for those people, for whoever watched it, the 16 people who maybe have watched it maximum, saw it, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it took maybe an hour out of their day, or 20 minutes or 30 minutes out of their day, and it took me 4 hours a day almost, some of the posts to edit, just because of the fact that obviously I wasn't as experienced on how to edit video or anything like that, so I taught myself. But yeah, I mean, at that stage, the only goal that I had for the Fitzness Academy was literally just to help people get through their days. A lot of people are still working, yes, but after you finish at 4 or 5 o'clock, or people who are on sort of I forgot what it's called now, obviously the funding that you would get if you were being like sort of released of work, people were sat at home for almost 12 hours a day doing absolutely nothing. So obviously that was out of some people's hands, but I thought that I would do my best to help, and fingers crossed I did. Obviously probably won't know, but yeah, to that extent. Moving on from that, obviously that lockdown, I'm not sure how long that lockdown was in the end. It probably was maybe a month and a half, or sorry, 3.5 months or something like that in the end, or 2.5 months, where life happened, and I went. Didn't go back to university. The university was still online at that point, so I took maybe, I think it must have been 10 or 15 days off. Did all my exams. Ended up sort of getting a 2-1 in my first year, which I was very, very happy about, considering all the circumstances. I had done half of the year in person and half the year online, which was pretty difficult to readjust, but I managed to do that. After that, I kind of realized, obviously through summer, that I was gonna definitely carry this on, and whether it was posting a workout or posting a photo and giving people some advice or anything like that, I did it. So obviously from I think it was literally the day after I finished all my exams, which I can't remember the exact date it was. I put a whacker screenshot of the first post of sort of the continued sort of posting. Um, I think it might have been sort of the around. It must have been about maybe a month and a half later. So maybe can't have been sort of more than April time. But from that April time, no, that's actually not true because obviously I'm close to a year posting in a row now. So it must have been August. I think it might have been. I actually started posting in the end, like sort of every single day. Because because obviously the exams finish in July and you obviously get early results, etc. So yeah, it was about sort of July, August time. And at that stage it wasn't a case of trying to be like, right, I'm going to post every single day and make this, into what it is today. I never had that sort of clear goal at the start, because obviously it was only about 3 or 4 months old. No, sorry, even 2 or 3 months old. So I was like, right, I'll just carry on enjoying it. As long as I'm enjoying it, um that's what's important to me. Because at the end of the day, as soon as I stop enjoying something, I'll definitely have a think about maybe moving on from that. But I haven't yet. So thank the Lord for that. So basically from that point on, I think off the continued amount of flow, there obviously at the start, it's like with everything, that I would get obviously during lockdown, obviously it was like messages or sort of comments or not on the actual post, but like just in general about, oh, what are you doing? You're embarrassing yourself, or what are you doing, man? That's really weird. What are you doing with your life, man? I was like, I'm trying to create my life. Obviously didn't have that goal, but obviously it was bizarre because obviously people were trying to, sort of, it was different. So I think at that time it was very different to what people expected at that time. Everyone expects people to be down and in the dumps, but I just was proactive and I used that time. Obviously, some people obviously find it a little more difficult, but I thought I would help in the best way that I could. So when anyone responded to a question like that, I would just say, well, I'm just trying to help people. Obviously to that extent, to at that stage, obviously nowadays it's a bit different being able to PT in person at the gym that I'm at the moment. So obviously now it is a business. But that was never a goal to sort of give me any financial gain from the Fitzness Academy at that time. It was just to help people get through their day. And I would always say it on the story that it would never be a case of trying to like it as many times as you can. I just wanted people to share it, and thankfully towards the latter days of the 30, I did get a few more responses. Obviously not many, maybe like sort of maybe 2 or 3, maybe on the last maybe 10 days. But obviously I used that and just obviously carried on posting like I was mentioned. Sorry, got a bit off track there, but no, we'll carry on. That the next significant milestone definitely was, it sounds bizarre, but the second lockdown, I think it was the second lockdown in January. So obviously we had sort of December, sort of September to January, around that time, where a lot of people actually sort of started to realize that I was keeping up with it. Even during when we went back into lockdown, I was always sort of posting and giving advice, etc., and how, like, obviously just motivation, etc., etc. But in terms of at that time going back into the second lockdown or the third lockdown, I really couldn't couldn't be asked anymore to realize what lockdown we're in. I just sort of took it in the moment. But I was very fortunate to the next milestone. Sorry to keep going off tangent, but obviously this is what I love doing about podcasts. It's unedited and I can say whatever I want, go back to wherever I want, go forward wherever I want. So the next key milestone would definitely have been being sort of elected strength and conditioning lead at Cardiff Met Cricket Club, Cardiff Metropolitan University Cricket Club, sorry, to the full title. Obviously, I'll leave the link to all the social media of those guys in the description below. Those guys are my family and my family for life. All the guys, from my first year, who obviously they were in second year slash third years, to the people who, I started with in my year, and the people who came in this year, and the people who come in next year. Obviously, I don't know them yet, but I can tell you for a fact that even the people that I've met this year, the first years, I can definitely say that that's the one of the best sport teams I've ever been a part of, if not the best sports team I've ever been a part of. So at that stage, it was very, very difficult because the year before, when I was participating in the strength and conditioning sessions in my first year with a guy called Cam, really good strength and conditioning coach now. I think he's just finished his master's last year. He sort of, obviously, the way he did things pre-COVID was very different. So I was in a bit of a stage where I had no idea what the process was going to be. So the easiest thing that I could have easily done was create a program. I gave the guys the guys and girls. I kind of wanted to change that mold a little bit and really involve the ladies in there as well. Obviously, they're like everyone else. They hadn't done any S&C with the Cardiff Met Cricket Club before. So I thought I wanted to change that mold, and I have now, thankfully. So I changed that mold and I created sort of two separate programs. It was very all-rounder based. So obviously, like, it was very all-round fitness wise. So I did one for the ladies, I did one for the gents, and then obviously I sent them to each individual group. That, like I said, was to do at home. I would film the sessions, and again, that would be a couple of hours of editing every single day, it was difficult, but I definitely look back on those times and realize that nowadays and nothing is as difficult as doing that. And I'll get to a little bit later, but there was a time which was even more difficult than that. But sort of, again, just getting used to editing, posting the photos, and that's where the photos and videos, and obviously giving the guys a good balance and girls a balance with running, not too much running as well. So obviously you don't want to get bored. So building that aerobic fitness, but that long distance fitness whilst we could, mixing with some intervals as well, because obviously the season was running close. And then and just building on the strength, using a lot, like I said, a lot of people. It was very difficult because obviously out of 70 people in the club, not everyone has equipment. So using a lot of towels, doorways to push against, to pull against, using a lot of, like I said, the isometric movements again. If you weren't listening, it's just where you obviously your muscles are tense, or you're using your muscles, but you can't see any visible movement. So for example, a bicep curl, if you curl the weight up, that's a concentric contraction where the muscle is shortening. When it comes down, that's where it's lengthening. And if it was staying there, if I was like trying to hold something up like this, it would be there because there's no movement, but my muscle is contracted. So hopefully you understood that. Obviously I was pretty far away from the mic, but moving on from that, obviously we did that for a good that program was in there for about, I think it was 2 months in the end, because obviously at that stage I had no idea what I was going to be basing it on. I was obviously hoping that any day I would get the message saying, like, right, we can go back into uni, but we couldn't. And must have been about late November, early December, I kind of made the decision to sort of stop the program wise, because I was a bit worried that a lot of the lads and ladies maybe were starting to get a little bit bored of just looking at a piece of paper. I wanted them to feel like I was giving them the good energy that I was feeling even during lockdown. So starting off some Zoom sessions with them, I would do that. Obviously, I agreed with Get the coach, absolute legend, that I would do that twice a week. At the start, it was ladies and gents, but then obviously, thankfully, the ladies did agree to sort of join in, and then it actually ended up working best because obviously we could all like sort of communicate and have banter and whatever before session and after session. But yeah, so we did that. We agreed to start that after Christmas. So I said 2 weeks before Christmas, I just said, you guys enjoy your Christmas, and after Christmas we'll start with these sessions. So yeah, it was a good plan in place. So I felt confident after Christmas knowing that I could start that process and be a bit more visual, and not have a register, so to say, but have a mental register of who was, putting in the work. And I can tell you for a fact that there's a few of the lads who actually sent me messages in the end saying that, because of the 3 months that was spent at home, they managed to feel more confident, a lot of the people may have been worried because they put on a bit of weight, or the ladies felt that they hadn't done any bowling or done any batting. So obviously, it was keeping it sport specific all the time. If you're a strength and conditioning coach out there, you're aspiring strength and conditioning coach or personal trainer. If you're working with an athlete from a specific sport, you need to make sure that you keep in mind the sport that person's doing. It sounds really easy, and you're like, James, what on earth are you talking about? Yeah, no, really, don't say, oh no, oh really, oh cool. But it is true, and I will sort of stress that, because a lot of people I've seen some people working with footballers and not naming any names, but they work with footballers and they're doing sort of bicep curls, and that's fine, but like, you need to be able to justify a footballer doing a bicep curl. If they're a little bit skinnier, on the skinnier side, they have that body type, and they need to sort of have that hypertrophy phase, or sort of muscle building phase, or muscle sort of size gain, because they want to look stronger as well on the pitch. That's fine, but justify it. Make sure you justify it, and don't just program any, like a footballer, for example, with a random program. It doesn't work like that, and that's why a lot of people don't see results or become sort of slower. Keeping it sports specific there. Coincidentally, at that time, the club that I agreed to play for in the UK the following summer, which actually unfortunately never happened due to, again, COVID. It did start up, but it was very stop and start, people isolating, etc. So I had agreed not to play that summer and to wait until this summer, which I've thankfully done. It was with Swansea Cricket. They kind of, I think maybe the two coaches had a conversation, and the skipper and coach Brad, absolute legend, another legend, actually sort of came to me with the idea of doing the same thing. And of course, I wasn't going to say no. That one was a bit more difficult, because obviously with the university stuff, at university, the lads knew the standard that they were going to play at, and the ladies as well. Sorry if any of the ladies are listening. I was meant by lads. I mean everyone. The club was, they're playing at the high level of bucks, and they know the standard. And some of the lads, like last year, have skyrocketed the level. Having some guys who are now playing international cricket, playing semi-professional cricket, playing minor counties cricket, even playing professional cricket, a couple of them. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous, the standard. So they know that they need to work hard, and a lot of them really did. With the Swansea, it was obviously still that, the Swansea Cricket Club, it was still that case. However, it was a bit more difficult, because a lot of those guys they've got jobs, so they were still working. So then obviously a lot of them would stop, but there'll be a couple of regulars, special mention, Oshan Weber and his older brother Webbo, I like to say, Webby and Webbo. Nice one, James. I don't know if they're watching, but Oshan is now playing Glamorgan under 18s after being released, so he's managed to bounce back from that, which is incredible. I'm not saying that had anything to do with me, but obviously he was there every single session, along with Brad was there every single session. It was fantastic. Sorry if I missed anyone out, but obviously just those basic lads were the ones that kept me going, and I was doing that for a good 4 months, along with the Cardiff Met sessions. And then that after those 4 months, the season was up and coming, and they were still a bit iffy if it was gonna go ahead, but they actually managed, they actually sort of realized that it was actually going to go ahead in the end, which was good. But yeah, it was obviously, again, it was a really, really good opportunity for me to get a bit nitty and gritty with the programming side, sitting here at the computer, at home at the computer, and giving the guys everyone some sessions to do in the gym. Obviously, that would be provided completely free. At that time, I had no goal of making any money at all. So I did that, and gave them the sessions for the gym. Unfortunately, the gyms were only open for about a month or two before they closed again, which was a bit annoying for the third lockdown. Obviously, it was a bit shorter, that lockdown, thankfully. But again, all I did was, right, the sessions are back on. Towards the end of the year, again, it happened. Unfortunately, the third lockdown, it was a bit more difficult. Obviously, some people just getting sick and tired of being locked down, obviously. But, to their credit, the lads and ladies from both Cardiff Met and Swansea really did the business, to be fair. And they put in the work, and a lot of them really sort of reap the rewards of working hard throughout the summer. So the actual summer, and then obviously leading into the winter. So from that point, obviously that was like the case until January 2020. Around that time, there might be a bit of a gap there, but obviously that was the gap of the lockdown, those 4 months. But obviously I continued to post every single day. Whether it was sample sessions, it's a little sort of glimpses of like sort of the sessions with the lads and ladies. But then just carried on. And obviously once the gyms opened up again, I went to work back in a gym as well, and I managed to get a job at a studio in Gibraltar called Reshape and Rumble, which was fantastic. I did that for about 3 months. Met some amazing people, and still still have my contract there, thankfully. When I go home to do like covers and stuff, which is fantastic. Everyone who works in that that group in Gibraltar was fantastic. But if I'm being brutally honest with you all, I think it got to a time where, because obviously with the lockdowns, I was in Gibraltar for a good, say, obviously I came back to Cardiff to do some trials for cricket, but like all in all, about almost 12 months, about 11 months, 12 months. So it was very difficult, because going away to university, when you reach the age, or you finish A levels and you go to university, it kind of gives you a good little break from Gibraltar, and realizes how lucky everyone in Gibraltar is. Same thing here. I speak to some of the guys here, and they say they're from Cornwall, for example, and coming to university realizes how lovely, like how much they appreciate it. Same thing with Gibraltar. I really do miss Gibraltar, but I felt that after that year in Gibraltar, it was the right time for me to have some time away from Gibraltar, and try and work over here, and try and gain a bit more experience within the field, which I love, which is strength and conditioning. Obviously, at the same time, carrying on with the Fitzness Academy. So let's see, a couple of months later, I came back. I think I came back in April 16th, when university opened again. Yeah, obviously, because I started the new year at university in September, my second year. Obviously, first half was online. Second half, they opened the university to do taste sessions, to do practical sessions. So I did 8 weeks of 8 weeks of practical sessions, which was amazing. Getting back in down and dirty with in the gym, and learning these different types of stuff, which I'd been obviously waiting for the 2 years, my foundation year and my first year, to actually do. And obviously it was about sort of a couple of, maybe about a month before that, I sort of, going back on a tangent, it was about a month before where I realized that I've seen a lot of people posting a couple of times a day, and obviously I was doing my one post for the day, and that was fantastic in a lot of people's eyes, but that I'd been able to keep for so long. But I realized that I was like, right, how am I going to spread my positivity, and how am I going to spread and help people? And that was just post more, do more stories, post more. So I decided that I was going to do a Twitter screenshot every single day, giving advice on that post, in writing, do a few like funny ones, have it head over to, obviously, the in the description, you'll see the Instagram, and you can see a couple of those are funny ones where, it's saying a line or like a quote from the gym, and it's like a GIF in there. So it's good. I like to get creative with those. But then, obviously a lot of them are serious, and if even if some of them are probably a bit controversial, calling some stereotypical people out, where and really opening people's eyes to following the right people, and making sure they're following the right advice, and not just what's trending in the world. So I really enjoy doing that. So obviously I do put one of those posts a day, and then in the evening I'll do, a video, a workout, like I said, well, I said a photo already, but like a more descriptive photo. So it'll be a photo of like maybe a transformation, and talking about like sort of someone that I've trained, like sort of maybe like, so I did like at that stage, obviously I didn't have any clients, so it was just me. I did a transformation of my best friend's Jake, and obviously that was more recent, but obviously you get the idea. And then I got to a stage where obviously it was getting tough with work, but I knew that I wasn't losing the love for it. I was still enjoying it, so I carried on. And to this day, what's today's date? Because it's a bit late at night. So technically it's the 25th of July. I have now been posting for 347 days in a row, which is I'm very blessed. Obviously, a few of those are obviously double a days. And obviously with those double a days, I've now done with the first post that will go out today. Actually, so with the first post that will go out today and the second post, so by the end of this evening, I will have done 499 posts in a row, like sort of most of those 2 a day. So 499th post in a row, sort of every single day. And that's a big milestone. When it hits 500, I'll definitely put a big message there. There's people who obviously run off the radar and want to do that, but it's taken a lot of effort and a lot of love from myself to be able to be like, right, not keep going. There's days where I don't want to post. There's some, I'm not going to obviously mention it, it's a bit personal, but there's been days where unfortunate things happened with family, and I had planned a post, and I knew that those days were the ones that really really counted. And obviously, as much as I didn't want to post, because obviously in the moment, I was upset or down, or wanted to be with family, I knew that I just needed to spend 5 minutes doing those posts, because at the end of the day, for that person, what happened, it was, I knew that they wanted me to carry on with my life, and sort of carry on, because I wanted to make everyone proud, and fingers crossed I have done. So yeah, there's obviously been days, obviously it's not been brown and daisy, that sort of red and daisy, or whatever it is. um it's been very difficult some days, and there's been obviously days, like I said, where you just don't expect someone to, and they expect you to put a post being like, well, yeah, no post today, guys, sorry about that, some issues have happened. No, I wanted to make sure that I continue that. And it may seem selfish to some. Hopefully it doesn't, because I definitely don't think it's selfish. It was just it's all about consistency, and not sort of that I didn't want to think about that, but I knew that, if I were to miss that day because of it, the loved one involved will just be, I don't want to disappoint anyone. So I definitely continue doing that. um it's important to know, obviously, that also, like I mentioned, it was a very difficult time from, I would say, September to September time to, no, it's actually January time. Obviously, once the gyms opened, I think it was January 2nd or February 2nd. In the end, I was, most days I would. It's mad thinking about it. Looking back on my daily schedule, it was like I would wake up at 4:30. Go down to open a gym for 5:45 in the morning. I would do that until 11 o'clock, especially during the summer. I would do that until 11 o'clock in the morning, and then at 12 o'clock I would lifeguard until 8 o'clock at night, and then I was still managing to do the posts every single day. And it got to a time where that was even more, because I was doing the classes. So I stopped lifeguarding, and I did the classes. So I would do 5:45 in the morning to 2 o'clock, and I would do 3 or 4 classes after that, until eventually I've come over here, and it's again also mad to think about. I've been away for 4 months now, and definitely it's very difficult. It's the longest I've spent away from home, for sure. I've done 3 months stretches at a time, and it's not too bad. But obviously, not being at university and working now, it's difficult. But I definitely been worth it in the end. Those tough times have helped me. So if I can give one piece of advice, I'll give another piece later on. But it's just keep your head down, keep working hard. If you've got a clear goal that you want to set, make sure you set that goal and you have the right balance to take you to that goal. There's no point starting off nice and quick and being really motivated and then dropping off suddenly. I've just been really consistent, and I've consistently got better and better and better, and I will continue to get better every single day. I will never, ever stop doing what I love to do, and neither should you. And I've been rewarded with that recently with, like I said, a job in Pure Gym where I can run my business. I can have my clients. That team in this Pure Gym is amazing. Pure Gym Cardiff Gate. If any of you guys are watching, you guys are freaking legends, and I can't wait for the future. And I've also been blessed to be awarded with a placement at Cardiff City FC's Academy, which I'm incredibly excited for. I actually started it yesterday, so I'm incredibly blessed. I'm reaping the rewards, I reckon, from all that hard work, and a lot of the people realize that. I think in the time, like especially in those early stages, a lot of people have been having the Fitzness Academy or been doing the classes for like a month, and people are like, this guy, what the hell is he doing? I'm in lockdown. Why the hell would I want to exercise for an hour? I think they can understand that, all that hard work is now paying off. So that is, believe it or not, the story of the Fitzness Academy team. Obviously nowadays it's just being consistent, working online, working in person, working to bring joy to as many people as I can. At the end of the day, like I said, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I love it so much, and like I said, as soon as I stop loving it, I'll stop, but that is never going to happen. I've continued to love the process, team. And like I always like to do, I love to give advice at the end of each session, or ask the individual for their best piece of advice. And I would definitely say my best piece of advice, you'll have seen this in the opening credits, but my best piece of advice is to do what you love to do, have the clear goal that you want to achieve, and have the right balance. As soon as your balance becomes unbalanced is the day that you will lose sight of all those goals. So set your goal, keep on the right track, stay balanced, stay consistent, enjoy the process of everything. As soon as you stop enjoying the process of something, the sooner you're going to quit, or the sooner you're going to stop enjoying it, and the sooner it's going to have to become a chore. Your hopes and dreams shouldn't be a chore. So if you start thinking of it as a chore, thinking, oh, I don't want to do that today, or I don't want to do this tomorrow, it's becoming a chore, and you're stopping to enjoy the process. It doesn't make sense, but you've stopped enjoying the process. So make sure that you enjoy the process of things, stay consistent, stay busy, have that balance in life, team. And as soon as you stay with that balance, the sooner you become closer to achieving those goals, team. So that is where I'm going to leave you, team. Thank you so much if you've watched all the way to the end of the podcast. Obviously, I know only being on YouTube now, it's a bit difficult to watch the podcast. Hopefully maybe you can download it and just listen to the audio file. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I'll get it on Spotify or Apple, sort of the podcast app soon. I've been given some tips on how to do that. But yeah, some big guests coming on, team. I'm incredibly excited about the guests that I've got coming on. I'm not going to say anything yet. We've got a couple of footballers. We've got a couple of cricketers. We've got a chef. Probably all of you know who that is. But and then I'm gonna keep looking for podcast guests, team, because I love doing this podcast, team. This is gonna be my baby. That as much as like I started the Fitzness Academy podcast is my new baby, and this is how I'm gonna start it. So thank you so much for listening, guys. If you have listened, stay safe, take care, make sure you live your life, team. Always be powerful beyond measure, and I will catch you guys in the next episode, team. Thank you. Have a fantastic day.